Hello and welcome to Herein Lies the Peace of God in the Awakening Together Sanctuary. The Awakening Together Sanctuary is an assembly of equals joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Then in an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. The host of Herein Lies the Peace of God is Reverend Jacquelyn and Eckert, the President and Minister of Awakening Together. Our co-host is your favorite anarchist preacher, Reverend Glen Ganaway, integral scholar. The Course in Miracles says this about discerning one truth. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Sing glory, glory, hallelujah. How wonderful thy holy name. Now I can see with God's own vision, and I see peace instead of pain. Yes, I see peace instead of pain. I can see peace instead of pain. Amen.
Herein lies the peace of God. I'm Reverend Glen Ganaway, your favorite anarchist preacher, doing this all over again because I I didn't hit the record button. And I'm here with Jacquelyn Eckert, and we have been talking about how the levels of God, the levels of teaching impact our daily lives. We've been talking about the different people, and animals that we've maybe encountered, and like what is the feeling of that. And we've spoken briefly about always being in that learning, teaching mind, or a lifestyle. So, and with that, would you like to add anything as I begin the program all over again?
I want to say how adorable you are when your face turned red when you realized you forgot to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's there are no accidents. In fact, she tells us that right here. So for whatever reason, you all didn't get to hear that first part. So
yeah, there you go.
Those of you listening on the recording.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't have anything to add.
Okay.
Where would you? How do you want to start? Should we?
Actually, I think you read last time, so it's my turn. I think it's my turn to. So the format is we like to read. We're doing the Manual for Teachers, and this is the Manual for Teachers. This is chapter 3, and it's called "What Are the Levels of Teaching?" And she says this. It's pretty short. The teachers of God have no set teaching level. Each teaching and learning situation involves a different relationship at the beginning, although the ultimate goal is always the same: to make of the relationship a holy relationship, in which both can look upon the Son of God as sinless. There is no one from whom a teacher of God cannot learn, so there is no one whom he cannot teach. However, from a practical point of view, he cannot meet everyone, nor can everyone find him. Therefore, the plan includes very specific context to be made for each teacher of God. There are no accidents in salvation. Those who are to meet will meet, because together they have the potential for a holy relationship. They are ready for each other. The simplest level of teaching appears to be quite superficial. It consists of what might seem to be a very casual encounters, a chance meeting of two apparent strangers in an elevator, a child who is not looking where he is going, running into an adult by chance, two students happening to walk home together. These are not chance encounters. Each of them has the potential to become teaching-learning situation. Perhaps the seeming strangers in the elevator will smile at one another. Perhaps the adult will not scold the child for bumping into him. Perhaps the students will become friends. Even at the level of the most casual encounter, it is possible for two people to lose sight of separate interests, if only for a moment. That moment will be enough. Salvation has come. It is difficult to understand that levels of teaching the universal it is difficult to understand that levels of teaching the universal course is a concept as meaningless in reality as it is in time. The illusion of one permits the illusion of the other. In time, the teacher of God seems to change his mind about the world with a singular decision, and then learns more and more about the new direction as he teaches it. We have covered the illusion of time already, but the illusion of levels of teaching seems to be something different. Perhaps the best way to demonstrate that these levels cannot exist is simply to say that any level of teaching learning situation is part of God's plan for atonement, and his plan can have no levels, being a reflection of his will. Salvation is always ready and always there. God's teachers work at different levels, but the results are always the same. Each learning situation is maximal in the sense that each person involved will learn the most that he can from the other person at that time. In this sense, and in this sense only, we can speak of levels of teaching. Using the term in this way, the second level of teaching is a more sustained relationship in which, for a time, two people enter into a fairly intense teaching and learning situation and then appear to separate. As with the first level, these meetings are not accidental, nor is what appears to be the end of the relationship a real end. Again, each has learned the most he can at the time. Yet all who meet will someday meet again, for it is the destiny of all relationships to become holy, and God is not mistaken in his Son. The third level of teaching occurs in relationships once they are formed are lifelong. These are teaching learning situations in which each person is given a chosen learning partner who presents him with unlimited opportunities for learning. These relationships are generally few because their existence implies that those involved have reached a stage simultaneously in which the teaching-learning balance is actually perfect. This does not mean that they necessarily recognize this. In fact, they generally do not. They may even be quite hostile to each other for some time, and perhaps for life. Wow. Yet, should they decide to learn it, the perfect lesson is before them and can be learned. And if they decide to learn that lesson, they become the saviors of the teachers who falter and may seem to fail. No teacher of God can fail to find the help he needs.
Thank you. Very well read. I was giggling throughout because I was hearing your partner there in the background.
Oh, I know.
Why are we together?
I know. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you my learning device. my teaching learning encounter mechanism, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, this didn't strike me this way before, but it certainly did when you read it. I got to tell you, it is so strange to have a chapter, a section in a book called "What are the levels of teaching?" and they go, "Oh no, they don't. There are no levels of teaching." I mean, it's like writing a book and going, "What color are Santa Claus's eyes?"
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. There is no Santa Claus. I mean, it's just so you have to kind of dig into that and go, well, then why the heck did you include that in this in this book at all? If it's not even something that's real, if levels don't exist, why are we even talking about what are the levels of teaching?
Because we're in a hegemony where we believe that hierarchy matters.
Absolutely. That's absolutely it. I absolutely agree. And, we just, and she talks about that, and I'm going to skip around here. Apparently she talks about that in terms of this illusion of time.
Yeah.
Because we think, we have a bright idea one day, and then we learn more about it, and then we get really good at it, and then one day we're gonna, we're just gonna pop into heaven because we've mastered the subject. Mm-hmm. And what this is no. It's not a progression. It doesn't work that way, which is why all encounters are maximal, right? Because because salvation is here now.
already.
She makes that point, right? So every opportunity is an opportunity to full awakening to the truth of our being. And what's the truth of our being? That we are one. And this is why we talk about recognizing that our interests are the same. I mean, that is salvation. That's what she says is salvation here. Even at the level of the most casual encounter, it is possible for two people to lose sight of separate interests, if only for a moment. That moment will be enough. That's a holy instant, right? That moment will be enough. Salvation has come. So it's actually quite profound. She doesn't go, y'all are looking at this all wrong, but that's what she says, right? All right, so let me back up here a little bit, and yeah, so really that's the main point. There are no levels of teachers, and there are no accidents. You know, it's like we talk here quite a bit about the loving all method and trusting that all is well all the time, and that everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to happen. And she makes that point here, that teachers and students are what? I'm sorry, I got distracted for a minute. Is there like construction going on in the background there in Brooklyn? No? Did y'all hear that? Strange. Okay, sorry. now you can take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm hearing things, right? Yeah. So all teachers and students are always perfectly matched. It couldn't be otherwise, you know. And she also says that all learning situations, I don't know if I have it written down here, are maximal. Yeah, each teaching learning situation is maximal in the sense that each person involved will learn the most that he can from the other person at that time. That's certainly going to depend on my willingness to use every encounter as a teaching learning situation. When I looked at this earlier, I thought, well, it's matter of willingness and perhaps a matter of spiritual maturity, which again is interesting. It's like, wait, you just said there was no progression. What do you mean spiritual maturity? Yeah. So it's kind of it's kind of a paradox, I think. What I had written about this illusion of time, after I went back and looked at it again, that really caught my attention. And basically, she says that the illusion of time permits the illusion of learning, right? Of a progression. But in reality, there is nothing to learn. Rather, it's an undoing or an unforgetting, right? It's not something that's accomplished or even regained. It's never been lost. And I was thinking about, was it Ramana Maharshi's story of the woman with the necklace, right? She's so upset. Oh my God, she's looking everywhere for this necklace she lost. And then somebody goes, hey, it's on your neck. And she's joyful to find it, even though it was never lost. Well, we're kind of in the same situation. We actually are still wearing the necklace, right? So it may seem like a progression because it takes, in reality, it doesn't, but it seems to take, hey, Laura, it seems to take some time to transfer our training from the little things that we learn to expand to everything. Because once that expansion, that remembering, that, you know, this idea of separation that I seem to be shown by my senses. Once I learn that, once I learn that sense of separation is not true, then that can expand. Well, it expands right to awakening, right? I mean, because that's ultimately what we remember, is that there is no such thing as separation. And of course, it's only with the idea of separation that I could have any conflict. with anybody in any encounter. Let's see, what else do I want to say here? I might have said it all. Let me look. This bit about God's teachers work at different levels, but the result is always the same. Again, we've been talking about the result, but what I was reminded of, Regina told us a story the other day about a vision that she had early on about it being in Plato's cave. Oh. And it was like in the basement, right? You know, it was down. You had to go upstairs to get out of it. And you know, everybody thought they were chained and looking down. And then she was talking about this idea of people being perfectly matched. You know, so when people began to look around, the person who looked around before them might be standing next to them. They would need to help them up out of their chair. And then there'd be somebody on the first stair to help them up the first stair, and then somebody on the second stair to help them up. And so, so there is a teacher for each seeming level, but the lesson, as we've seen here, is always the same. Yeah. There's only one thing going on here. There's only one of us here. That's it. I mean, I really think that I've said all I have to say here. Yeah, it's really, somehow it's very exciting. It's like, I think it's because there's no wasted in. I think the reason I find it exciting is because there is no wasted time. There are no wasted encounters. It's all. Again, the symbol that comes to me is what we were talking about when we started, right? With the burgeoning of the earth, you know, of the, you know, the spring flowers, et cetera, et cetera. It's just like it's always being born, the truth of what we are. Okay, I'm done.
I really think so too. I the way that my mind or Holy Spirit or whatever does this, you know, gives me the example of like, what is the present moment? Is this bloom like a rose, a flower that is continually blooming? Yes. It's just this continually blooming flower, rose, you know, kind of thing. That's the present to me. It's endless. It's just beautiful and compelling and interesting. I'm an integralist. So when I hear these encounters, when she talks about these, you know, like different things being necessary, and there's only one thing here, I'm reminded of the way the integral theory puts this together. We need, in order for like a forest to exist, or even say an elementary school to operate correctly, it doesn't really matter what system you want to do. We need janitors and people who build and the people who do the concrete, and we need people who know steel. We need people to know books, and we need people to know libraries. We need people to, you know, create a curriculum. So the school isn't just bricks and mortar. It's not just teachers. It's not just students. It's not just any of those things. A school is this one system, and it's all necessary. And you can't say that we can't have walls, that we need to really and make sure that we get teachers, but we're not going to put walls in, or we're going to have bathrooms, but we're going to have gyms or something. It does. So you start to get at these levels, and it goes, oh, all of this together is necessary to provide the the most healthy learning experience and it's all necessary. You know, the people who do it well and the people who do it bad and all this other stuff. It's in order for it to all move forward in the learning device. You need people at different, and the way Integral talks about it is we do need people at different levels of understanding, because we need different sort of work or things happening in the world. So these it looks like one levels because that's my experience as a person. I'm looking from one place around where I'm in relationship to all these other people. So it looks like, oh, some people know more of me and some people know less than this, but it's only on my little narrow idea of what, of the role I can possibly see for myself. It can't even encompass the whole thing because I don't have the ability to even encompass a whole system in my brain, because that whole system in this analogy is reality, is God. We can't pull one thing out of this reality. We can't pull crickets off the earth, or earthworms, or any type of person, off of this earth to make it better for everybody. It doesn't work that way. There isn't a better way of being. There isn't better levels of existence. It's not better to be a boy than a girl. It's not better to be an animal than a human being. It's not. It's just, or to be a tree than a bug. It's not better. There aren't any levels. Looking at that way means we've already chopped up reality. It means we're already looking at getting, climbing, achieving, past, future. You're sunk. You do levels. You see levels. You've already chopped up the world. You've already created a before and an after, and an arc of understanding. So I think it's really beautiful that she says there aren't levels, but you experience the world in these different kind of categories, and they work together in ways that you don't understand. So don't think of them as levels, but you need to make sure you think about them as all worthy of your attention. Mm-hmm. All of it is worthy of your attention. Every moment of it. There isn't anything that's ever going on in front of you that's like, I already know that. I already know that. That's my bad habit. Let me confess. He goes, I have the habit of just going on autopilot. Going on autopilot to work, going on autopilot in a relationship, or going on autopilot with, I'm at work, I already know this. Yolanda thought it was really, really funny. I can type without looking at the keyboard. I can type about 60 words a minute. So the best I've ever done is about 90, but it takes some real effort. But so I can type in the thing. So Yolanda's doing, and I'm saying, oh really? Oh okay, thanks. And she goes, what are you? So it goes. I can take the levels of encounters in my own mind and say, okay, task this out. It doesn't make things better or worse. It just doesn't make it better or worse. But that's the opening tangent for for my little takeaway on this. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate what you had to say. I think that one of the things that gives us trouble with this idea is, you were saying there's not this one's not better than that one. Is, for example, we like to think that like being a minister is better than being a mass shooter. And I think that's when we
sure,
we have difficulty comprehending this.
Sure.
That's when the senses, and the sense of separation, I'm over here and the mass shooter's over there, really seems to be at its height.
Yeah. But it's the sort of attitude that I'm not, I'm different and separated and insulated from other people, is the idea that creates mass shooters. That if I can eliminate somebody else on some other level, I'll be safer.
That's right.
It's patently, it isn't just shooting yourself in the foot, it's shooting yourself in the head or the heart. It's tragic. It's just absolutely tragic, the misunderstanding of all of that. And to think about, if that's a harsh reality, isn't it? To think about those encounters being holy encounters, or wholly necessary, or or
perfect, no accidents,
or perfect, or a teaching learning environment.
Yeah.
That is how big God is. That even there, she's going, we're all learning this together. Will you learn this lesson? If you will open your head, we're here to learn this lesson. Even there, she'll let it be that harsh. It doesn't have to be, I don't think, but we have a really weird way in the West to say that nothing should die.
Don't we though?
And like, it's like, we have all kinds of drugs to make sure that we don't ever feel very much, you know. I used to work in mental health and homeless and stuff like that. It becomes very difficult to get somebody's lithium or medication levels so that they're not a zombie and they're not in their disease. So you help them with a chemical to move, to help them learn what is going on in the encounters and things. So it's very, very difficult to learn what chemicals and those are levels in science, and this milligram versus that milligram can change change everything. So we really do believe that we operate on levels. We don't ever operate on levels, but it looks like from our perspective that levels are valuable because they're tools in order to learn about it. It's like, why does the world exist the way it is? Because it's always going to prove that it's not real. It exists to always prove that it's not real. It's only ever going to do God's will. I love the world because it obeys God's laws. I love, and I can count on it. I can be completely wrong, and I can count on the world without me having to think about it or manage it at all. It obeys God's laws, and when I don't participate in God's laws, I suffer. So we can talk about that as levels, but okay. There is no set level of teaching, just one goal: to create this to live as a holy relationship. Walk around as half of that holy relationship, or my portion of the holy relationship. I walk around as three-dimensionally this half in control of this part of the holy relationship. That's all I'm doing. This part of the holy relationship. It's all I'm taking responsibility for, because each of us is without sin. Each of us does not deserve the judgment of anyone. Each of us has earned the acceptance of the world and the love and that love and acceptance that goes along with that. And once again, I'm really loving this. Realize that you're always in a teaching learning situation. That call is always being answered. Well, hello, welcome to the teaching and learning, teaching and learning situation. When you get upset, because the person you don't want to answer the phone is, I'm sorry, you've reached the hopeless and closed learning situation. That's the one you don't. That's the one you don't want to pick up the phone when you're losing your mind. So she says at the very simplest level, we have casual encounters. I like to think of these as plants and animals, and people at the deli, people I've brushed up against, people I've walked along the street. I've had I walk to work every day, and I don't know about you. Your commute, if you have a commute, you probably end up seeing the same people every day. Right. I used to take the subway into every work, and I got on the same car every day to go to work because you just get in a habit, and so does everybody else. So everybody's waiting on the platform and getting on the same car that you're getting on. So I begin to say, may peace extend from my mind to yours. When I begin to enter a room, or be able to have the attitude of may peace extend from my mind to yours, because that's what because who's here when I go into to get my coffee? Who is here? What is happening? Does somebody need? Am I here to? Does somebody need my help, or am I need to notice anything? I'm not just keeping my head down, running to get my coffee and breathe, because I let the world go. I let the presence of others pass me by.
And let me just say that last sentence: no teacher of God can fail to find the help he needs.
Yeah,
is exactly this point. I mean, so pay attention, like you're saying, to where I'm to step in. To what's mine to do.
And it feels really good to step in when somebody needs something and they can't do it. It feels really good to step in, I've been. We can all brag on the things that we've done. So this level of she begins at the first levels, not to overlook the casual encounter, not to just think you're skating through any of this. The birds, when I was working with the Lakota Indians and something during and others during the Naraya process, they were really big on what animals did you see on your way here. All right, what animals do you live with? What are the trees and stuff that you live in and around your home and where you do your practice and everything like that? And it was really important to know this, and that's why I like to have a little crow over here, because they seem to be familiar to me. They come around to me a lot. So those are so, and the opening.
Well, that's just so cool because that's like again, there are no accidents. Those encounters with those animals are not chance encounters, right? And it's also representative of the fact that the outer is a reflection of the inner.
Yeah.
And so I just really appreciate that.
I see myself in those crows. We'll be in the parking lot. And she goes, "There's your friends." We'll be going by. She goes, "Well, there's they're just following us around." At the beginning of the Naraya, which is a big Native American dance for all peoples, the opening prayer is almost 3 hours long. Can you imagine a 3-hour-long prayer? You know what they do in this 3-hour-long prayer? They say thank you to every living being that they know of in the entire area. It takes 3 hours to say thank you for the crawling nation, thank you to the one-legged nation, thank you to the six-legged nation, thank you to the four-legged nation, thank you to the winged birds, and thank you to it takes 3 hours to consciously acknowledge who is here. That's chilling. I fell asleep the first time I listened to it. I won't lie. I've listened to it since then, but the first time was like, oh my God, I have to sit still and pay attention and listen for like 3 hours. I wasn't prepared. This is a few years ago. But I like that idea, to thank all the living beings around us and the things like that.
Because because that really gets you to that intimacy of life, and this is not meant as an advertisement, but this month's movie is My Octopus Teacher.
I love that.
Oh yeah, it's a fabulous movie, and it's that same thing, right? It's not like there's an octopus over here and here I am swimming over here. No, it's this. Mm-hmm. It's this.
And I'm going to do the good thing for the octopus. I'm going to save the octopus.
Right. Although you battled with that, but it's the interconnectedness of all things, and that's what's sacred.
So we have no teachers because we're all teachers, or we have no levels because we're all teachers. We're all in this, hopefully, this teaching and learning environment. And she says, and I talked about this a minute before, but time and levels are the same illusion. Time and levels are the same illusion. She asks us to change our mind in the way that we've been talking about, to accept the call, to accept this desire to know who you are, accept this desire, this talent we have for creating peace, create the peace so knowledge can enter. It's a decision we make. And she calls this teaching a new direction. I love this. It's like, teaching a new direction. I can do that. And other people help me do that, right? Showing where this direction is. And so these are teaching and learning situations. All encounters are teaching and learning encounters. So this is God's plan for me to experience the atonement. Yeah. There are no levels in God. There are no levels in teaching learning situations. God's teachers work at different levels. Like in elementary school, we need all the roles, all the attitudes, all the things in order to and I don't even think we even teach alone. You know, I think all these other things in the situation and what's bringing us, I think we're doing it together. Because I don't know about you, but I've been a part where I'm learning, and this has been like the last 3 weeks or so. I've been learning, trying to figure out what a lesson is for about a month now. And each like day or encounter and things like that, I learn more about what I'm thinking and applying a new idea. So I think there's multiple teachers that are teaching me one lesson, you know, in my life right now. I think that's valuable. God's teachers work at different levels, and I don't need to be. I'm not responsible for delivering you the whole message of the Holy Spirit in one encounter, and I'm not going to tackle you and make sure everybody knows that I'm a minister and you need to like listen to me and things like that.
But can I interrupt? But isn't that actually what she says? She says the whole lesson is taught in one encounter. It
does, but it's the lesson you need at that moment. It isn't like me delivering you the criteria, the whole Course in Miracles.
Oh yeah, it's not teaching like, you know, look at these 4 items on this board. I mean, it's like my interest and yours are not separate. That's the whole lesson, and that's what we can teach in every encounter.
That is the big realization, to teach that we have no interests that aren't shared. That's the one thing that I'm really excited about. How can I teach the one lesson? And I can probably, I want to say I should, but I try not to should myself. I try I can teach. We don't have separate interests. In every single encounter, I think I can definitely teach that.
Well, and in fact, you're either teaching that or it's opposite.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. So if you don't know how to teach that, notice when you're not. Notice when you're teaching levels. You know that it's better to be a certain way, or that it's more valuable to have or encounter this thing. Like, yeah, that's very true. So this is, but we then come to sustained relationships.
Oh yeah, those.
These relationships are sustained. You know, the second level of teaching is the sustained relationship. Now, maximum learning is in all levels of teaching, but these are often intense teaching learning situations.
I just want you to know I call them marriages.
This is number 5. I think Yolanda and I counted up. We're both like on 5, probably on series.
Oh, good. I'm in good company then.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. These are intense learning situations. Well, I'm here to tell you that most of my learning situations have been intense. Because I'm 6'1", 220, and I know what's right. And when I'm walking down the street and everything like that, and I encounter bad behavior, I also have an opportunity for a teaching and learning environment. But it started out as a hopeless and closed one a few weeks ago, and and is now a very learning one. I won't go into the details, but I've had some I've had some new understandings about the line between how I am going to present in the world as a responsible member of the atonement. When I see a shooter, you know, somebody who is in that mindset, what is my role as a teacher, as a fellow human being, as a, you know, in direct encounter with that mind. And I've done some really good work in that area because of the work I do here. The conditions of peace, what is mine to do, these ideas of levels, and this week, what do you want to learn? See, that's the thing that I'm such a teacher that the idea that I could learn from anyone is something I've had to keep. I mean, I'll confess, I've had to keep learning. that everybody is here to teach me. Everybody is here has, and I know this and teach it myself because I call everyone a university. You know, everybody is a whole learning system. You know, I'm never going to completely know Yolanda. That's not unique to Yolanda. It's the nature of existence. I'm never going to be able to explore the complete depths of another person. Everybody is a university. And she says these encounters aren't accident, and they really have no end. These lifelong relationships are chosen. We have a chosen learning partner. That is huge. How about that for a marriage vow? I take you as my chosen learning partner.
Yeah, I think that's what Tom said when we got married. I'm like, thanks a lot, buddy.
I didn't know that at the time, but well, the first thing I had on my list of I had a really awful breakup, and I did what they say to do: make a list of everybody of the qualities of the person that you want to be with. Okay. And mine was like 5 pages long. I got it down, because I'm oddly specific. So I wheeled it down to about 10 things. I can't remember all 10 of them now, but it was on my refrigerator, and I looked at it every single time I went out for the night or whatever like that. And I was going back all out. Asked 20 years ago, I was going out rather a lot. I was on number 4, and so I would have on my mind what I was looking for. The first thing on that list was I wanted what I would call today a co-conspirator, somebody who would. And in my thing was a tag team partner. I wanted somebody who would support me in what I wanted to do, and I would support her in what she wanted to do, and that we wouldn't compete, and that we would complement each other. And she would help me grow and learn, and I would help her grow and learn. And it'd be a conscious partnership, a tag team. When I'm having difficulty, I tag you in, and when you're having difficulty, you tag me. You tag me in, because I'm elementary school. I'm obsessed with wrestling as a kid. So
yeah. I got the reference. I'm from Kentucky. So I got it.
Okay, you got the reference. Okay. So this idea of choosing a life partner, choosing a learning partner, is something I actually kind of really do understand. I do pick people I think I want to know. Not just somebody that are interesting or I think is going to get me somewhere. Every relationship I've made that has trying to advance myself with, or trying to try to acquire them or their reputation or their world, or an acquisitional relationship, has been complete and utter failure. Every relationship in which I entered it with a conscious, whatever happens, I want to know you. I want to know you. Has turned out a whole lot better. Doesn't mean I didn't get my heart broken, but it means I eventually did it right. This third learning level, this third level of teaching, is really important to me. It's the chosen learning partner. She says that there are unlimited opportunities for learning, and she says the balance is perfect. I'm looking for those perfect balanced relationship. I really am. This teaching learning balance, in which affection isn't a determining factor. I told you about these encounters going back to work today. There are people that are in these businesses that know me now, and we have an antagonistic relationship. Because I keep pointing out how difficult they make my life, So I just thought, I'm learning this. I want to learn, so I don't hold back very much anymore. I want to learn what's going on. I want you to know I'm your learning device. I'm I'm going to be your your learning thing or my learning thing. I'm a student and a teacher, and the world is teaching me. Everybody that I meet is teaching me, even the people that I have really a lot of difficulty with.
Well, particularly those people.
Yeah, it is. But some of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned have been at the expense of somebody else's jaw. That's just no lie. It's just what happens. It's what happened.
I'm reminded of Byron Katie talked about, somebody coming up and going, "You're the most selfish thing," and she'll sit down, she'll go, "Oh, tell me more."
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, and to be able to, talk about holy encounters, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to go into any situation, and because isn't that the idea behind guilt and blame?
Mm-hmm.
It must be you, because I'm perfect.
Yeah.
So, but really, no, tell me more, so that I can see where my stuckness is, where I'm failing to see our aligned interests. I want to know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're being a jerk, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's for me to learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's
I don't let up. I'm not afraid. I'm just not. I'm not afraid anymore. I'll go with you as long as you want to go with it. I'm not. I'm not afraid with these encounters anymore. Because the perfect lesson can be learned. The perfect lesson before me can be learned. And
as long as I'm willing to look inside.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the lesson is.
Yeah, where can love overcome conflict? Exactly. I know what am I trying to accomplish here? What do I want to express in my presence, and being in somebody else's presence, to be able to appreciate somebody else's presence, no matter where they are in the world, is been a journey for me, especially with really. Some of the most awful people have been some of the greatest teachers to me. Treating me like pretty poorly have been some of the biggest teachers for me. I was, chronically bullied and stalked as a child, all the way through college. I was in 3 or 4 fights. Knock down, drag out to somebody's unconscious fights several times a year, all the way up until college.
Wow.
Well, I'm queer and
really?
outgoing, and I'm noticeable. So I present something that has to be overcome, apparently. So I've had to figure out where that is for me, and learning who I'm going to be in those situations. It has taken me, a lifetime to be able to use that way that the world, the hegemony, that a certain kind of man and women live in the world, in which I am their object of learning, and how I can operate as a teacher, as a student to these people. Well, I may have to eventually tell this story because I'm talking all around it, but my life has been threatened a couple of times this week going to work, and I think the counters basically petered out, but it was very intense there for a while. So as I'm working in this lesson with teaching and learning encounters and everything like that, this is what is happening in my life.
That's
and
amazing.
It's absolutely
perfect.
Yeah.
It's absolutely perfect.
And this man is my savior. This man has showed me not only how strong I am, but how much help is around for me. That I'm not alone and friendless, and that I'm loved and supported and seen, strangers and everything like that. So this has been a very good encounter and actually has helped me feel safer in my neighborhood than less safe. Mm-hmm. And it's counterintuitive than what you might think. But it's, in conclusion, I'll say that we are in relationships with everything and everyone. And there is never an insignificant meaning of the children of God. We encounter our brothers and our sisters in the living environment of this world. We are here to heal and to support the healing of all the living beings we encounter. We have casual, intermittent, and long-term relationships that show up exactly at the right time for our healing and the healing of other beings. We're all significant, and they are all significant and should not be brushed aside. Becoming present to the moving, growing, and expanding experience of the presence of love all around us in every moment, in every activity, well, that's a lifestyle. It's an attitude of interest, attention, presence, and discernment. These can be very intense encounters, and God knows I am an intense encounter. God is all around us, as us. We're safely on the journey home, and we will always be going home together. That's what I have to keep remembering. I can't leave anyone out. I don't want to leave anybody out. I don't want to leave out anybody that I like or anybody that I don't like. It's more tragic to reject. For me, right now, it's more tragic to reject others than it is to feel rejected.
Yeah.
You know?
As you're speaking, I'm trying to get the song right, but I think it's Jesus loves the little children, all the
children of the world.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a perfect theme song for your
They're
point.
precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. I know. I know, and then it segues into everything is beautiful in its own way. I mean, that's the 70s, 80s version that
it is, right? You're right, and it's perfect. And it's a perfect segue, right? I mean, that is the point, right?
It can
it's
be.
All perfect.
What do I have to learn from red people? What do I have to learn from yellow people? What do I have to learn from black people? What do I have, to learn from, people have been educating, it's been the gift of women that I understand feminism. It's been the gift of African Americans that I know what discrimination for race discrimination is about. It's them sharing that with me. It's the living and stories of trans men and women in my life that they've shared with me that it has allowed me to teach from a more inclusive place. So,
you want to play us out?
I would love to do that.
Thank you all for being here. We love you.
Otherwise I'll just keep talking.
You've been listening to Herein Lies the Peace of God with Reverend Jacquelyn Eckert and Reverend Glen Ganaway. To find out more about Jacquelyn and to donate to Awakening Together Sanctuary, go to www.awakening-together.org. To find out more about Glen and to donate to the Mighty Companions Ministries, go to www.glenganaway.com. That's GLENGANAWAY.com.
I can see peace instead